I have all my videos inserted into my timeline, and now we're going to try to edit these down. So there are a couple of things that'll make this a lot easier for you. First of all, if you click on the bottom right hand side of your screen here, you can change your view in the timeline. The top one over here is going to expand the time. So you really, as you pull this to the right, you are zooming into the clip. You can see as the timeline expands, it goes from taking 2 minutes across my entire screen to when I pull it all the way across to the right, that's just 1 second. So you really just need to think about how close of a view you need in order to achieve your goals in your editing. So we'll come back to this one. The second one over here, this is then expanding how much of the waveform you can see. And this is going to be extra helpful for what we're doing today, because if you made it all the way small, you can't see the waveform. And I'm asking you to edit your videos on the clap. So you want to get as much of a waveform as you can get onto your video so that you can actually see the point where I am clapping. That point of impact will certainly leave a mark on the waveform. Now, editing. Your basic editing tool is just the blade tool. And the blade tool is where you'll literally cut your video. So here there's a bit of stuff that I don't want in my final product, so I'm just going to simply cut that out. So I'll pull my playhead over to where I want my video to begin. I'll hold down Command B, and then I can select the part before that and press delete, and boom, it is gone. So Command B basically is using this section over here, and when you use the blade, you are literally cutting your video. And this will help for just getting rid of the parts of the video that you don't really need. Here I filmed these sections of the video where you don't necessarily need to cut anything, but if you want to cut some bits off, you can just put your playhead somewhere, press Ctrl B, and it will be deleted very easily. Now the part that I want to pay attention to is where I am clapping. So I can already see over here, this is where the clap is because there's a sudden spike in the audio waveform. So what you need to do is zoom in on there. Maybe a little bit too much there. Okay, so you can see it seems to be a bit of an out of sync here with the video, but we're going to go with the clap. So right here, this is where the clap is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as my keyframe. And if you press the M key on your keyboard, it will insert a little purple dot on your screen. And these can be extremely helpful because if you also have snapping turned on, which is this other button on the bottom right hand side of the screen, then I can just roll my film back to the point of interest. So for example, right here where the purple dot is, that's where I want my edits to be. So I click on this segment of the video, and that then highlights it in yellow. And then as I hold my cursor on the edge of that segment, you'll see a little roll of film. And that's because this is exactly what we're going to do. We are just going to roll the film back. So I click on this, and then I hold down the left click, and then with my other finger, I just roll my audio back like that. And then the next segments, you can see, this is where I want my cut to come in. So I'll just press another M key to put a highlight there, click on the segment to highlight it, and then when I hold my cursor over, you can see that the roll is now facing to the right. If it's facing to the left, then the roll is going to focus on the leftward motion, but we are going to the right. So we'll just pull this over to my mark, and now my two marks have met, and that means that my clap should be seamless. And there you go. For the final section of the video, I'm asking you to fade to black. So all you need to do is pick a point from here and fade to black. And I'll show you how to do that. So I'm going to pick a spot. At this point, everyone, fade to black. I'm going to start when I say, right where I say fade. So I'm going to put a mark here. Fade to black. Put your name in the... So I'm going to change name. So between these two markers, this is where I'm going to have my video fade to black. So what we do is we put our playhead on the first marker, and then we go up to the top right hand side of the screen, and you'll see the word opacity. And we are going to change our opacity from 100%, which means we can see it all completely. And then at this other marker, I'm going to lower my opacity to 0. And then you'll see I clicked over here. When I set my opacity at 100, I clicked to set a keyframe. That's what this little yellow dot means. And then when I moved it over here, I dropped it down to 0 and clicked my key, and you see my keyframe is set. And as I draw my playhead around, you can see my screen fading to black. So after this, the screen is now black, and then you can insert your name on the video. So you'll do that by going into the titles and simply pick. When adding a title, I recommend you do something simple. So I'm just going to choose the blur button, or the blur type, and all I need to do is simply drag it over. So you'll see over here blur popped up, and then when I click on the blur text, it then brings me up here where I can then change the words. So I'm going to change the words from title to edited by Mr. Wheeler. And you will change this to whatever your name is. Obviously your name's not Mr. Wheeler. And then down here you can change the size of your font, and there are all other things you can play around with, like an outline, a glow, and a drop shadow, etc. But we're not worried about that. So I just need to find a stopping point for my title. So let's look at the video. At the end, and your video is done. Alright, and your video is done. So I'll then command B to blade, and I'll cut that, and then my fade out and title is done. Fade to black, put your name in the titles at the end, and your video is done. And that's it, everyone. And let's close out this video by looking at a completed version of the video project that you are going to do. So yours should look a little something like this. Alright everyone, our assignment today is you're going to edit this video on the claps. So when I'm finished talking right now, I'm going to clap, and then you're just going to edit me in different rooms, and that's the video. So, I'm tired of being in my classroom, so I'm about to go somewhere else. I'm in Miss Key's room. Now I'm by the concession stand. I'm in the commons area. Now I'm in Mr. Callahan's class. Now I'm in the library. And now we close out in the green screen room. So from this point, everyone, fade to black, put your name in the titles at the end, and your video is done.